Okay, start. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. We're showing this video where how they're using AIs to scam like people through their marketplace, right? So they have let's say a really nice. Oh, you can't hear anything. Andy, Ian, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you
Oh,
clearly.
let me just type in the chat.
Hello.
Hey, Ian. Hey. Yeah. I think that's why I couldn't hear me. Maybe there's an audio issue. I'm gonna type in the chat.
You're a bit soft.
Is it? Oh man.
Or it could be my volume for Teams.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm using the new setup your dad hooked me up, so
Oh no, my Teams volume is just low. Sorry.
okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna say try restarting or increase the volume, maybe. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so yeah, continuing on that. Yeah. Okay. Get started. I'm getting off track, but yeah, welcome back to AI is Fun, our TTT session, where we share the latest and greatest in our AI technologies. Joining me today, I have Ian and Andy. We'll be, I think today one of our main topics is that we're gonna talk about going zero into hero on how to plan your trips. Last time we were talking about how to plan an AI class, right? Which was actually going to happen, but I'm gonna take a different step today. Seeing how are some other different applications that we can, work on. And to start off, I'm gonna, prompt a little bit of a discussion here between us. I saw this post in my Instagram, I think last week, saying that, from Sam Altman, who is the head of OpenAI, and he said that saying please and thank you onto your prompts to on ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever is costing millions and millions in electricity, right? Anybody want to chip in? Maybe why is this happening, or maybe why are people even saying thanks to AI tools in the first place? Yeah.
Trying to treat it as a part of your family.
Yeah. One interesting thing I've heard from last time when I was doing a bit of training, one of the customers, he was a young guy. I think he was just like 20, 22, 23. And he was telling me, it's like, oh, he says thank you to the AI tools because he's scared that in the future, the AI is gonna develop consciousness and they're gonna like not be happy with him. I don't know if you're serious, but but I think he was afraid that something like the Terminator will happen, right? Something like Skynet, the AI is going to take over the world. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but
Is
he
that
was
why you
scared
have
that
the
that is gonna
Terminator there?
happen. What do you say?
Is that why you have the Terminator on the screen?
Yeah, because that's the movie he was like referring to. It's like, oh, I don't want a Terminator to happen to us. I was like, are you being serious or are you joking with me? So yeah, but going, hey, good to hear that your volume is okay as why. Yeah. So one of the things I want to touch on is what do you think that saying please and thank you to ChatGPT, right, is costing millions in electricity? Anybody got any insights? Maybe I've got a bit of an idea of what's happening.
Yeah, probably when you trigger with the word thank you, it's trying to go and do processing and trying to understand what do you mean by thank you. So that itself runs a few cycles on the computer. Yeah, so that translates to electricity if you have more than a bunch of people, like right now, I don't know how many people is on ChatGPT, but assuming that we have like 1 million or 2 million on ChatGPT right now saying thank you at the same time, that equates to quite a lot of electricity used.
Yeah, because the system of how these GPT models work off is that they receive their inputs through like tokens, right? Tokens are just like like how many words are you sending it in, pretty much. That's the simple way to explain it. So it's like if you're adding like please and thank you, you're just gonna send in more and more requests through these tokens. So that's how they are costing more in electricity to process your word. Yeah, exactly what Andy said, right? So whether or not you guys want to use thanks or please, I don't think it's gonna be much of a big difference, because I think these millions in electricity, it's over like a period of a couple of years, pretty much, right? But it does, I think, affect the tone that the AI would respond to you at the very least, right? Maybe we'll test it out later. I don't know. But for now, we head over to the next slide. Just a little bit of recap what we did last time. We had a little demo from Laureen, who I don't think is here today, but she was showing us, how to do your own stylized portraits in this Ghibli style, right? I don't know if you guys seen it in social media. A lot of people are using it as their profile pictures, even in their Instagram posts, right? So how to make your own pictures into this sort of cartoon style. I'm gonna replay the demo because it's very short in a little bit, but we also talked a little bit, using AI to give back to society. We were doing a little bit of planning on our upcoming AI classes. We are trying to see how these different frameworks, right, which ties into our third point, using these different frameworks on how to make it more effective. And one of these frameworks is called the CARE framework, right? So you want to put in your context so that the AI is know what's the situation we're in, what sort of action. So he knows what to expect, what sort of output you want it to release, and maybe what's your potential result, what sort of thing you want to be looking at when you're looking at the prompts, and attaching the similar example, which is the E in the care, right? So it grounds itself to something that's more realistic. I think I have the slide somewhere here, but I'll show you guys that later. And for now, today's session, I do have a little bit of a recording from Noel, who's unfortunately not able to come. I think he's still talking to some customers right now. But nonetheless, he's graced us with a little bit of a demo. Later on, I'm going to jump into the latest and greatest news with Ian. And from that, the main theme of today's session, we are going zero to hero, right? And from this zero to hero perspective, we're going to talk about trip planning with Alex. I've got a little bit. I actually tried to look for my prompts, but I couldn't, because last time Copilot has these AI agents. They had like a trip planner agent, and ever since they removed it, I don't find my prompts anymore. I don't know why. But after that, I've got a little bit of a graphic on the best AI practices when you're using it to brainstorm the prompt, right? And if you got any time, I don't want to jump into 11 Labs, which is this AI tool that people use in voiceovering. You might see it a lot in TikTok and like Instagram Reels, right? People use these like AI voiceover tools instead of voiceovering themselves, right? And if you're watching the video I was playing before this, when they are using AI to generate scams, this is one of the tools that they actually use. So, but for now, I'm just gonna show you guys a little bit of a demo from Lorraine. Let me see if I can find it. On how do you create these Ghibli style portraits, actually, which I found interesting. Yeah, Ian, you can try this out. Because I know Ian doesn't like to use real life profile pictures. But let me see. Okay, I got it downloaded. Here, let me move it to the main screen. Okay, here we go. This is showing up right? Everybody can see the screen.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so what you pretty much do is that you upload a picture of yourself. That's the first step. And I gotta preface that this, I think, only works in ChatGPT, because tools like Copilot, they actually don't want to have anything to do with your faces, because I think they have a privacy like limitation, right? They don't want to be, reading into your biometrics, for example, like your face details. So what Laureen did here is that she uploads a picture and she said, "Oh, please create this image of, this lady." This is Laureen, by the way.
Yeah, great.
And yeah,
One other point to interrupt, sorry.
yeah, no worries.
ChatGPT right now has a 4.5. That
Mm.
doesn't work. Only
Oh,
works at 4.0 or 4.0.
okay.
Yeah. So
So
if you accidentally went to 4.5, which is normal, you need to select the 4.0 or 4.0.
okay, I guess they introduced the privacy like barrier in the the newer versions then.
I
Yeah.
think what happened is that there was too many requests to do Ghibli, Simpsons, and whatever.
Yeah. I think I remember seeing a post that so many people are doing this. It's actually slowing down ChatGPT for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me resume this. So yeah, so just create an image, and if you're not really happy about your post, you can ask the prompt ChatGPT to change your post, right? So what Lorraine wanted to do here, I think, is that she wants to have her portrait hold a dog instead. Is it? Yeah, a puppy. So let me fast forward a little bit. So you prompt it in, you upload your picture, you got to give it a little bit of time to run. And let me fast forward. I think it takes like half a minute, a minute, or a minute or two, depends on. Yeah, so there you go. So this is before you put a cartoon filter onto it, right? If you want to change your pose, you can do this. So from this same picture, while in the same conversation, of course, you can of course turn this image into the Ghibli style, which is very simple, right? Just say turn it into a Ghibli style, turn it into a Ghibli theme, a Ghibli image. And yeah, you just turn this into a Ghibli image. You gotta let it run for a little bit again. And anytime now, there you go, right? So you can use something like this for your profile picture on your WhatsApp, your Instagram, or whatever, right? And it's a very creative, a very playful way to express yourself. I'm sure many of you have seen it on your social media, and there are a couple of ethical concerns with using this. People say that you're stealing off of what you want to call it, because you're training off of Studio Ghibli's movies illegally to be creating this. But I feel like that ethical discussion is up for up for talks. Whether or not you think it's ethical, this tool is here for you. So let me go back to our slides. Yeah. So very similar to something like this. If you have Mona Lisa, change it to a different theme, something more cartoonish. Yeah, you can put it something like that. It's not limited to just Ghibli, right? You want it to a different theme, you can try it out. You want to make it something out of Marvel comics, you can do that, right? So okay, Ian, you're around. I've got a couple of our whatchamacallit articles for the
Yes.
week. Yeah. So I've seen this one that you shared about Alibaba unveiling this new AI model called Qwen 3. And he says it's better than DeepSeek. So any insights?
Then it's just people wanna one up DeepSeek now after it caused a massive crash with Copilot and everything else due to being able to
Yeah,
run on the same thing and just cheaper, significantly cheaper than the other AI
right. Isn't it interesting
stuff.
that a lot of these new AI tools are actually coming from China? It's like all the I don't know, the big conglomerates, because this one comes from Alibaba, right? And there's a new one also
Yeah.
coming out from Baidu, which is it's just all these really big like companies from China trying to chip in into the AI like GPT format sort of like modeling. And yeah, one of the things I saw them say, particularly about this model coming out of Alibaba, is that it's actually trained off of tokens, which is as I said earlier, just like words, right?
Hmm.
Covering 119 languages and dialects even, right? So what do you make of this, Ian?
Um, not
Because
sure
yeah,
how, because if it's training based on the Chinese language, then it makes sense.
hmm. But it's 119
Because
languages, so maybe like French, Indonesian, Japanese, right?
I hope they're not taking any like dead languages.
That could be, yeah, because I know one of the issues right now, at least from my experience, when you're doing translating with these AI tools, is that when you're doing something simple, it's fine, right? But when you're going to something much more cultural, let's say, right? For example, something with Japanese, right? Because that's something I'm familiar with, is that Japanese has different tones, different writing styles, depending on the context, right? If you're talking to your seniors, you don't want to be using one sort of writing style. They have like in their language, they have a different, how do you say this? It's like a different
Hierarchy.
conjugation system. Yeah, depending on your hierarchy. So I feel like Copilot, at least when I was using it for translations, they always give me the middle ground. They are not, they don't delve into anything casual. Let's say if I say those exact sentences to my friends in Japanese, right, it'll sound very weird because I'm being overly
Simplified.
yeah. And
I
if I'm
mean,
talking, yeah,
can you expect the AI to learn slang?
I think they can. Maybe through this Alibaba model, they can, right? I remember last I think 2 sessions ago, we were talking about I think idioms from Spanish and how these tools actually process that idiom into the English language. So it's like something like raining cats and dogs, right? And I think when I was using ChatGPT, it didn't really translate it well. It says that, because in Spanish, the actual word is that it's raining buckets. That's their idiom, right? In English, our idiom is that it's raining cats and dogs. So
Hmm.
when we are translating it from English to Spanish, it puts it word by word, right? Raining cats and dogs, even though there's no such idiom in Spanish. But when I use it something like DeepSeek, for example, when I turned on the think deeper function, it was able to, switch it to this different idiom that makes more sense in their language. So I'm interested to see what this new this model Quen 3, yeah, Quen 3 is able to offer. But so far, I don't think translation is doing any well using these tools any further than just short phrases. Anything very long, I feel like it's not very good. Anybody has any experience with this?
No, I'm still
Because
using
yeah,
Google Translate.
yeah, Google Translate, I feel like it's still kind of janky though, right? For
Yeah,
anything longer, but they make sense at least.
yeah.
Because yeah, I think the newer Google Translate, not like last time. Last time I feel like Google Translate is still janky, but nowadays Google Translate, I feel like they're also taking a bit of the training data from Copilot, but not Copilot, Gemini, right?
Yep.
So you know we'll have to see how they go forward from here on in. And I've got one more article, which is this one, Ian. You sent me something about Microsoft sharing terrifying new use for AI. How about this one?
Well, it was gonna happen eventually.
Yeah.
That a company said, "Oh, we're going to use AI to replace people."
Hmm. Yeah, well, because I see that they're talking about this survey that Microsoft's doing, right, across like 30,000 people. And
Hmm.
one of the words I'm catching here is that it's the rise of the agent boss, right? So what does that mean? Something that says that it essentially means that it refers to a future that many jobs are replaced by AI, and these AIs are being like managed by, humans, right? So I guess it's like, so now one human has access to these dozens, hundreds of bots, and they're doing the productivity equaling to, you know let me admit somebody in. Yeah, so one person would be using these AI bots to equaling the productivity of 100 workers, for example, right? Do you think this is something that
Uh,
can happen, Ian?
it's definitely a reality that's happening, but I think people, instead of being scared, have to learn how to use said software and learn how to improve instead
Yeah,
of staying stagnant. I think it's, in a way, it's a wake up call, and yes, it's very scary. Like, oh, a robot is now here to take my job. It can work the whole day with no rest. You're not beating the robot,
yeah, right.
but generally
Because
robots are like made for a certain purpose. Unless it's not made currently, robots are made to do many things at once.
yeah, well, we're not AGI level yet. We can They are not 100%, 100% replacement for humans yet. But
Yeah,
I do think that
so
even this thing here that humans manage teams of these bots, I think that requires a specific skill, right? You need to know how to
yeah,
troubleshoot these bots. You need to know how to give proper prompting to these bots, how to like make maintenance or it, or train it or something like that, right? So those
yeah.
are a specific set of skills that they are not focused yet from the past, but going into the future, I think that if workers want to stay in the workforce, this is one of the things that we have to be focusing on, right? Using these AIs to upskill and upgrade your expertise, right? Unless you're working in a field that expertise is not much. Let's say you're an actor, right? I don't think AI is gonna replace acting anytime soon. People are not even happy looking at AI-driven games. Yeah. Any final thoughts, Ian?
I don't know. Didn't they use AI to make a dead person for acting?
Yeah, yeah. Last time we were talking about, was it Ghostbusters? Was it? They brought back
Think
one of
Yes.
the
so. I
yeah,
didn't watch it, so
Harold
I'm not sure.
Ramis.
yeah.
Harold Ramis.
And like with the blessing of his family, like with their permission, they're able to bring him back from dead because the first Ghostbusters where he was in was like many decades ago, right? Now that he's passed away, when they're making a sequel, they want to bring him back, and they had to use deepfakes, right? So
They also
and
used it on. They also used it on Fast and Furious, where Paul
mm,
Walker died halfway through the movie, and
yeah,
they had to complete it, and they used the siblings
yeah, his
to
brother,
stand
yeah,
in. Yeah, the siblings to stand in, the two brothers to stand in, and then they used deepfake to put the face on.
they did. Oh,
Yeah.
I have to share one example that I remember since we are talking about Disney and Star Wars, right? There's that. I don't know if any of you watch Rogue One.
Oh,
They
the
did that
Princess Leia, is
for
it?
Princess
Yeah,
Leia.
That's right.
because
Yeah.
that came out in the last decade, and like Carrie Fisher,
Mm,
if you didn't know, she's already like I think 60s, 70s. Like she's passed away now, but when this
mm.
movie came out, she was still alive, and they wanted to de-age her. So came out with something like this, right? It was kind of uncanny when I watched it. I think they haven't perfected it yet. When I first saw it, it's like wow, they de-aged Carrie Fisher, but something still look odd. But yeah, this is one of the applications they can use, right? With deepfakes, they can resurrect dead actors, they can de-age them, and soon enough, one example I was talking about one of our sessions is Bruce Willis, right? Bruce Willis, because he is having I
Yep.
think Alzheimer's or something. It's like he can't continue acting any further. He was willing to sell his likeness to, I think a company. So, you can keep making movies with his likeness as long as you're paying him a premium. So, something like that, right? Very interesting stuff. Let me go back to the slides.
We're
Oh,
on
before
very
that,
morally
yeah.
gray ground with this.
Yeah, it is. But I think because we don't have the laws to be addressing it yet, right? When we are talking about laws involving AI, there's a lot of uncertainties. We can only use whatever's already present. For example, when we are talking about AI training, we can refer to the privacy laws, right? You can be taking other people's content, other people's trademarks, other people's copyrights to be training your AI model. That's one thing we can do. But anything further than that, we're gonna need new laws. That's for
I
sure.
don't know
That's
how
for sure.
enforced it is, though, those laws.
Well, in the first place, I think stuff like privacy laws are also kind of hard to enforce, right? In an
Yeah.
international scale. I know, like, even from China, they steal a lot of like media, right? They put in their advertisements, they put it on their, I don't know, their Douyin. But
Well, they're not getting caught.
yeah, and
Yeah,
nobody's gonna, yeah.
actually, there was a case that was already brought up because they used a mask of the
Hmm.
actor in a movie when the actor refused to return to the movie, and that was Back to the Future. I think it was Back to the Future 3. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So there was this actor who was in Back to the Future 1 and 2, and then he refused to enter into the Back to the Future 3. Sorry, hang on, sorry. Let me cut. It's 2. So Back to the Future
Mhm.
1, he was in the Back to the Future 1. He was acting as a dad to this
Marty McFly?
Marty McFly.
Yeah.
So and then they ended up he ended up being rich. He wrote books and all that stuff, and then they live in a good life. But because
Mm.
of that, the actor who played the father was not happy because he was saying that everything was materialism and all that stuff. So he ended up trying to sue Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg.
Wow.
uh yeah, so they were in litigation, and in Back to the Future 2, in order to ensure continuity, they also had to like put the father in. So what they did is they tried a trick. They used uh, rubber mask of the actor, which they actually took in Back to the Future 1, and then put it onto an actor, and then tried to like obscure the actor a little bit, just show a little bit, don't show a little bit, that type of thing. And then eventually the actor found out and then sued again. And I think he
Wow.
won a landmark case. Yeah,
Yeah, not surprised. Because
yeah.
isn't it in the, if I'm remembering correctly, didn't they change the actor for the girlfriend too? Like Marty McFly's girlfriend?
That was in one because the Marty McFly's girlfriend actually had some family issues, and then she dropped out of the movie industry altogether. Yeah,
Yeah, because I remember they just changed her actor, like
yeah, yeah,
altogether,
yeah,
which
yeah.
makes it surprising that they used a rubber mask for this other guy.
Because yeah, I think his face was quite unique. But what was the guy's name? That guy was also in Charlie's Angel,
I can't remember
uh,
which one. But
the
yeah,
reboot. Crispin Glover. Sorry, yeah, Crispin
yeah.
Glover. Yeah, you can actually find it out on you can do a
Yeah.
Google search and find out Crispin Glover on the Back to the Future. There was some news and some hoo-ha going on.
Wow, yeah. But I'm glad that the art industry, or at least the movie industry, has a lot of like unions and all this stuff to protect their likeness even, right?
Yep.
So yeah. Wow, I gotta look that up. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
so
Wow.
that's why you notice that nowadays in the movie, at the end of the movie, they always will write any likeness is purely
Oh,
coincidental and does not reflect the da 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 blah 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 all those other things.
yeah. Now that you mention it, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I didn't know it was, yeah,
yeah,
definitely to protect against something like that, huh?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Good. Okay, yeah. Thanks also, Ian. I think that's the end of our sharing for the articles. But before we go into the trips, actually got a clip from Noel. He sent me. He's not able to make it today, but he got a video. Let me see. To actually leads very well into our upcoming topic, talking about using AI tools to train, not to train, to plan our trips. Let me see if I can.
Did you get the name wrong?
What is it?
Did you get the name wrong?
The name of what?
The with Alex or Andy?
Oh, Andy. Oh, yeah. No, we had another. We have a couple of A's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, Andy. Sorry.
No, no worries. Yeah, please proceed.
Let me see if I move this to the other screen, which is not letting me. I think it's because my presentation's there. Give me a sec. Give me a second. Oh, there. Yeah. Tell me if the audio is not playing, but otherwise I think it should be well.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming for this session. I'm sorry I'm not able to make it, but at least we have a good recording for you so that you can learn as much as you can. And I truly believe that AI is fun, and I want you to be one of those people to enjoy that. Let's get started. Share my screen. Okay. All right. So welcome again. So today would be the second session for the month of April, right, for our exciting AI is fun session. We always saw opportunities like this as a way to train people who aspire to be trainers. Right? So that's why we call it the TTT session. Right? And in doing so, we hope that we inspire some of you, and together with the team, Greg, Ian, myself, and more, we're going to bring you an exciting session today. So that's it. Let's get started. Now, my own AI personal assistant surely must have be these three, right? I have ChatGPT on the left, Copilot in the middle, and DeepSeek on the right. Now, that said, I realized that there are more exciting stuff, all right? And if I were to do a quick comparison between the two, all right, the ChatGPT and Copilot are trained on the GPT engine, while the DeepSeek is trained on Chinese writing and with the AI engine, if that's the right way to describe it. So that said, right, I want us to think of the Chinese AI, if you want. So we have on the left DeepSeek and on the right Manus. And I've recently been playing with Manus and I realized that it's amazing. All right. So let's have a look at Manus. All right.
I've never
So
used
I'm
Manus
just
before.
gonna go
Such a
through
stream.
my screen for Manus. Right, like the rest of the team, all right, and we're going to go on a holiday planning approach. So I'm going to start off by talking about this, right? Using this prompt, give a 2-week trip agenda in June 2025 to China with cooler weather and mountain scenic. All right. So even though sometimes I don't have grammar, the right grammar and so forth, right? Even after keying that in, you realize Manus is able to interpret that. And it says, I will help you create a 2-week trip agenda to China's mountain scenic areas with cooler weather for June 2025. Let me research the best mountain destination in China that offer pleasant temperatures during that time. And I'll put together a comprehensive itinerary for you. This will take a few minutes. All right. And one of the nicest thing with Manus is it actually tries to use some clarification questions so that it can go deeper and more accurately. All right. So some of the things that you might want to look at is confirm, all right, before proceeding. All right. Always ask the users several questions to help clarify their requirements and only proceed after confirmation. They're amazing. Right? And that's obviously turned on to enable. Right? So it says, I'd like to create a detailed 2-week trip agenda to China's mountain area. And these are some additional questions that it wants information for. Are you interested in specific activities during your trip? Hiking, photography, cultural experiences, and others. Do you have any preference for accommodation types? Luxury hotels, mid-range, budget, or unique local stays? Are there any specific regions of China you're particularly interested in visiting? What is your preferred pace of travel? Relax with longer stays or covering more destinations? Do you have any dietary preferences or restrictions I should consider when recommending dining options? Are you traveling solo, as a couple, or with family, friends? So what I did was I went ahead, I answered the best I could. Cultural, sightseeing, like hiking, unique accommodations, medium pace, no dietary restrictions with family. Then it went on and says, I'll create the 2 weeks for you, blah, 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 blah. When started to think about it, researching, right, and so forth, creating files, connecting to data sources, identifying the top mountain scenic areas to visit, researching transportation options, creating a detailed day-to-day itinerary for the trip, accommodation recommendation, activity suggestion. Then finally is finalizing and presenting the trip agenda, right? And it ends by saying that, right? And it even writes it out for you. I've completed your 2-week trip agenda for China's mountain destination with cooler weather in June 2025. Right? I've included detailed information on day-to-day itinerary, unique accommodation, cultural experiences, sightseeing, and light hiking options, practical information about weather, transportation, cultural ethics, budget consideration, and booking timelines. Amazing. And look at these 4 documents, the 2-week trip. Okay. Wow.
Oh, it's
I
able to
tell
give
you, this is
documents.
almost like being done by a professional travel agency. Day by day schedule, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, 7, and so forth. Amazing, right? Then alternative, even an option B for you. 1 to 7, same as itinerary from the earlier, and then you got day 8, day 9, day 10, and so forth. Amazing stuff. Practical information, weather in June, transportation details, accommodation highlights, cultural tips, budget consideration, booking timelines, final recommendation. best option for families, for cultural immersion, photography highlights, unique experiences not to miss. My goodness, incredible, right? Let's look at the next one. 2-week itinerary. Amazing stuff. And then we have the unique accommodation, Yunnan province. So
Accommodation.
area by area, city by city. Fantastic. Even giving you the star rating of the places. Some stuff in it. Now look at even the estimates on pricing and so forth, right? And then of course even the cultural sightseeing. Fantastic stuff. Amazing. Amazing. So if any of you are interested in this thing, let me know. All right, fantastic stuff, right? And then last but not least, we can even create a website for you. Amazing. All right. So I tell you, this tool is going to blow everyone away. So if I were to summarize, all right, using Manus, amazing. So I keyed in this, right? Then they respond to some additional questions for details. It's asking me to respond. And then, of course, then after quite a few minutes, it gave me these 4 files. Fantastic stuff. Right? And of course, share Manus creation as an interactive website. By clicking on this button here, you get to create a website. And it will be hosted on Manus website. Amazing, right? So I'm going to pass you back to the team. Let's have fun. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining this session. I wish I was here together with you. Thank
It's all
you.
good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to know. Yeah. One gripe I have with AI tools nowadays that they're not doing well with the modalities, right? I know that they're good with making images now, videos, and they're actually leaps and bounds compared to what we had when we first had them. Let me reshare my slides. But stuff like, making documents and even like audios, right? You gotta like find a specific like AI tool. Like these are free chat-based Gen AI tools, Copilot, ChatGPT. It's like they refuse to give it to me. So, okay, let's talk about trips, right? Leading off of Noel talking about him using Manus AI for a China trip. How about you, Andy? Are you around?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
So, okay, let me just do a share screen. Hold
Yeah.
on.
Let me stop sharing mine. Yeah.
Okay, so mine is a little bit more manual work, I would say, but essentially it's about the same thing. Just give me a minute. Something wrong with the screen. Hang on.
No worries. No worries.
Let's see why I'm not able to share it that way. Okay. Let's see.
All right. Yeah, we can see it.
Right. Are we seeing the slide?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So the idea most of the time when we want to go on a holiday is used to be where we are inspired to visit a certain place. Here we have 2 pictures, right? On the left, you might think that it's AI, but it's not AI. It's a real place. And then on the right is also another real place. And the right one is the one that is, I think if you have been moving around in Malaysia, you would probably know this place as Fraser's Hill. Okay, yeah. But the one on the left, that is actually what triggered me initially to look at how to use AI to find the place and also to visit that place, right? So what do we do? So number first thing is that we need to do is we need to identify the location. After we identify the location, we need to find out more about the location. Things like what are the places of interest there other than what you see on the picture? How do you get there? How many days do you need to visit all the places that is, places of interest? And then also, more importantly, is how much budget do you need, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use this scenario, all right? Number one, I want to plan is a budget trip. Number two, I will use public transport and walk if possible, right? Number three is visit places of interest. And then to keep costs low, I don't want to eat at very high expensive restaurants. I would want to go and eat local foods. So preferably maybe on the street foods, those type of things. And as far as accommodation is concerned, I want to be as budget friendly as possible, stay in a place with attached bathroom. I mean, there are cheaper ones that you can go to is maybe like stay in hostels or stay in dorms, but that's usually where you have a common bathroom and you lack some sort of privacy. Okay. And what are the things that we're going to use? The tools, right? So we have ChatGPT. Trip.com is a website where basically you can find the flights, and then you can also find hotels. Okay, and of course PowerPoint if you want to document it, you can use Word to document it, right? So what I'm going to show now is the screen. Okay, so you are seeing the
Yes, we see your
okay,
brother.
right? So it's a browser, and this is ChatGPT. And as I just now mentioned, earlier on, there is many versions here. The latest version was 4.5, which is here. But I don't use that because that has got a lot of so-called limitations in my opinion. So I'm using 4.0, right? So first of all, let's go back to the picture, and I'm going to just copy the picture here on the screen. And I'm just going to paste it in the ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, where is this? I mean, that's the first question that you would usually ask. So over here, it says here, oh, the picture, the image here is Herb Island in Pucheon, South Korea. Okay, the scene features a lavender flower field and blooms vibrant in summer. So you see from there itself, you say, oh, this type of scenario, this type of scenery is somewhere in summer, right? So what is the next thing is usually you want to find out like what is the best time to go and all that. But let's, for the purpose of simplicity, we will use this Fraser's Hill picture so that I think it's more relatable for most of us here, right? So where is this? Right. So it says here, oh, the location is the Smokehouse Hotel and Restaurant in Cameron Highlands. Hey, oh, Cameron Highlands. Sorry, this is Cameron's. Oh, I thought this is Fraser's. Anyway, so let's find out about Cameron Highlands, right? So it says this is a two-door style signage in Malay and English. Blah blah blah. Smokehouse is well known spot for English style. Okay, so let's just say show me the places of interest. Yeah, right. So it will list down for you. These are the places of interest. You want to go for nature and gardens. You've got the Cameron Valley, Farm and Agro. You've got the Big Red, cultural, and colonial and chill spots. Okay. So then what you say is, okay, let's just say, for example, so it asks you, would you like me to group this into 1 day or 2 day itinerary using public transport or Grab? So it knows my style because I've in my previous prompting, I've already told them that I prefer public transport, I prefer Grab, I prefer Those are things. So what you could actually just mention also is like this: I am a budget traveler, for example. I prefer public. You specify this to ChatGPT, and walking within 3 kilometers, for example. Okay. My preferred accommodation is a room with attached bathroom, and all prices in Ringgit Malaysia. So this basically tells ChatGPT that, whatever results that you tell me, okay, follows these rules. These are the things that I want, right?
Mm.
So it says, okay, yeah, here you go. And then basically this is a 1 day budget itinerary, or you can have like a 2 day or 3 days, right? And from there itself, you see, it will also tell you how much is it estimated eating breakfast at this place, Restaurant Kuma and Thompson Trail, free, those kind of things. So then, for example, you say, okay, I am traveling from Subang Jaya. Okay, please find me best transportation to get there. So it will do the search. It will find out for you. It gives you an idea. For example, you can go with bus via TBS. Okay. And then it tells you how you can book it, right? Train to Kampar and then bus from there. So you have got different type of options, right? You can also do a direct taxi or ride hailing, it's going to cost you like $500. So these are your choices, right? And say, for example, the recommended option here, because I said that I prefer public transport and, walking. So they told me, okay, the best, or recommended option would be using bus with TBS, via TBS. So at 7 a.m., you depart, go on the LRT to KL Central, then to TBS, then arrive at TBS, board the bus to Tanah Rata, arrive in Tanah Rata, and then you're done, right? So you can say, for example, okay, find cheapest accommodation in Tanah Rata, for example. All the while, when you're querying and having a talk with ChatGPT will slowly compile all these things for you. So you see, you can actually stay in Oyo, 90760, Lily Haven Hotel, $24 per night, RM. So these are actually how you can plan for your hotel if you want to stay there. And usually I would say it's best not to like compress everything into 1 day, otherwise you'll be a little bit crazy. Why? Because ChatGPT or the AI hasn't learned the distances, hasn't learned timing, hasn't learned how much you can cover in a day. So unless they have come to a point where you've taught it, you've said, okay, I can only do 6 kilometers in a day, or I can only visit one place at a time in a day, those kind of things, then it will actually tailor the results for you much better. Okay, so now you say, for example, choose Oyo Hotel, for example. Okay, so you can book via Expedia, right? And then, say for example, so ask you whether you want to help booking or combining it into a full 2 day. Yeah. So combine, for example, 2 days. So now you see it's building everything for you, gives you the time, gives you the estimated amount. You have a choice also, some of the options, you can look at local crafts if you want to or not. And day one will cost you $49, ringgit, sorry, to be more exact. And then day two will be about 80 ringgits because you're visiting and, all those places. So summary, the budget itself will going to cost you about 100 to 200 ringgit. Okay. And then from there, you can say, okay, now I want you to create a PowerPoint for this. So if you're using ChatGPT 4.5, it will start developing a VBA script. For those who are not familiar with programming, VBA script is how you can actually automate things in PowerPoint or Word or Excel. So what it does is it creates a VBA script, which you need to paste it into the PowerPoint, a blank PowerPoint a blank PowerPoint presentation, and then you have to run that VBA script in order to generate the slides. But in 4.0, it actually allows you to create a PowerPoint file, which you can actually just immediately save. Right? Yeah,
Okay.
save, right? I can save this. And after I save it, I can immediately open it up, right? Sorry. Where is my, okay, yeah. So I can open it up and here is that presentation. I think you're not seeing the screen, right?
Yeah, I think you have to reshare it.
Yeah, let me just share it again. Hang on.
No worries. Yeah, surprisingly, let you, customize it with photos or a map, because last time when I tried using ChatGPT to make PowerPoints, it was only able to give me like text in the PowerPoint.
Yeah, so it's actually improved a lot already. Somehow or rather, what happened to my Teams has disappeared on me.
No worries. Take your time. I've got 5
Yeah.
minutes. So
Yeah, hold on.
yeah, building on what you said earlier is that ChatGPT and all like these Gen AI tools are not familiar with the concept of distance and time yet.
Yes.
I remember when I was planning my Japan trip, it gave me one of the itineraries was that daytime we are going to Mount Fuji, nighttime we are looking at Shinjuku, and like Mount Fuji from Tokyo.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what is wrong with it, and that I had a painful experience in when I went to Korea, right? In April. So the initial, I mean, when I did it on planning, and I had no idea about where I was going or which part of or how far it is to go from point A to point B. So I said I rely everything on ChatGPT, and end of the day, ChatGPT came up with a very nice schedule, but not entirely doable if unless you're a Superman or you have your own car. So yeah, walking from one of the parks to another park was a nightmare. It's a long distance. I seem to be having some technical issues here. My
Yeah, no worries.
Teams, yeah. How do I get back into this
Yeah, maybe I can try sharing my
sharing?
screen so I can cancel your share for a second.
Yeah. You
Okay,
try
let me
that.
try. Okay, see if you can find your screen.
Okay, I got it now. Let
All
me
right.
just share the PowerPoint. So this is
Oh, I see it.
this is the outline, and then you can later on, you can just insert pictures or whatever. But that's basically how it creates, starting from Subanjaya, Hotel Oyo, 2430 per night, Grab within 3 kilometers. These are all the trip overviews, and then Restaurant Kuma, Parit Falls, Madi Agrotech, Sri Binjang, Lots Cafe, Oketak, and then Total 49, Local Cafe, RM5, Valley House, Grab RM20 round trip, and then T for RM12, Big Red Strawberry Farm, RM10, Time Tunnel, Museum, Dinner, Sing Chapati, accommodation, transportation. Oh, sorry, this one doesn't include my transport to Cameron's, so I forgot to include that. Yeah, but it included the hotel, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you can do.
Okay, wow. I gotta try that out.
Yeah.
Last time when I was trying to use AI to plan my trips, just that, they're missing a lot of things, but this was like more than a year ago.
Yeah.
So,
So it's actually very interesting, and again, if you trigger things like deep research or deep thinking, then it can actually do a lot more. But just with the basic itself, you actually get a very nice framework of the place that you want to go and visit, and you can actually do more on that already.
all right, yeah, well, I gotta try it out one of these days. If I plan the
Yeah.
trip, that is. Yeah. No, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Andy.
No worries.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll wrap up here, but before we go,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Oh, I didn't get to share some of this stuff. Let me just fast forward to the end. Maybe this for next session. And VFX. Let me see if I can shop. Yeah, we talk about trip planning today, using Gen AI tools, fill in all the different details going from transportation to your costing, which, wow, yeah, we gotta give it a try some of these days. But I didn't get to talk about frameworks or AI and VFX, but we did talk a little bit about the film industry earlier in the session.
Yep.
And something I do want to show is that we have another session for TTT focused on Microsoft Copilot. Usually happens on Tuesdays, on the days before I present. So, but I don't think we have a definite dates yet for this upcoming month. Do stay tuned for that. But for now, I do want to thank you guys for coming in. We do upload these sessions into our YouTube channel a day or two after the session. I will paste the link into the chat later. But any final thoughts before we end it? It's 1 p.m. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah. Good to
Yeah.
go. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna end the recording here. Thank you,
All right.
SY. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for
Bye.
presenting with me, Andy. Thank you, Ian. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording. Yeah, thanks, guys.